What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is going to be an oversimplified one, something a little bit different to what we normally do. We have focused on the US quite a bit, but today we're going to be checking out Hitler. Yeah, as simple as that, Hitler, and there's a baby on the screen right now, so I'm assuming that is Hitler himself, and potentially it's going to give a little life story on how he became the person who he was, which everyone knows, everyone has an opinion on. I don't really have to tell you what kind of person he was, you know? So we will get straight into this one, guys. Like I said on my video earlier, this is the first time I'm using my mic today. I've messed around with the audio settings a little bit, but I'm not used to these audio settings, and I'm not really the best with that kind of stuff. So I've tried to set it up as best as I can, and hopefully it is okay for you guys. Let me know in the comments, though, if you've got any improvements or a few things you want me to adjust. And also, it is in shot right now. If you don't mind that, that'd be absolutely perfect, because I feel like this is the best way to do it. If you do mind it, don't hesitate, let me know in the comments and I will try and find another way. There definitely is ways to get out of shot but also be good audio, and hopefully it is good audio. Now, without further ado, hit that subscribe button if you're new out there. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Hit that like button as well. Actually, smash that like button, absolute legends. And let's see what Hitler, or baby Hitler, was all about. Well, we know it was all about in his later life, but I imagine it's going to build it up. Part 1, let's go.
Look at this baby. So gentle. So innocent.
Not for long.
This child would grow up to become a good man.
Yo, by the way, look at that haircut. I mean, I know it was back in the day, and I'm not dissing anyone's haircut. Rock it how you want it. But he doesn't have a choice at this point. That's probably why he turned into Hitler. Look, it's not even straight, man. Like, they've done him dirty there. Maybe that is why he turned out to be the way he was.
An honest man. Well, think again. Hitler was born Adolphus Hitler in 1889 in a small town in Austria-Hungary.
Wait. His name was Adolphus, not just Adolf. Really? I guess Adolphus is potentially the German way of saying Adolf. Wow, I never knew that. Again, extra information already.
Hitler in 1889 in a small town in Austria-Hungary. His father, Alois Schicklgruber, was born out of wedlock, but eventually changed his name to that of his stepfather, becoming Alois Hitler.
Okay.
Alois was a mid-level Austrian customs officer. Not really rolling in cash, but certainly rolling in women. He married a rich older lady, but then immediately started having affairs, including one with a much younger house servant.
I was about to say fair play, but come on, man, you can't be doing him dirty like that. Hitler was doomed from the start, man.
A few years later, he left his sick wife to be with his mistress, but since the Catholic Church didn't allow divorce at the time, he couldn't marry her. So he waited for his old wife to die and had a child in the meantime.
Wow.
Then his wife died, so he married his mistress and had another child, but then his new wife got sick, so he employed his much younger cousin Clara to take care of her.
Okay.
Then when his new wife died, he immediately got Clara, his cousin, pregnant.
Oh, no, you can't be... You know what? I'm not forgiving Hitler completely, 100% not. You can't do it. I don't think anyone can, but yeah, he's had a torturous upbringing from this other person he looked up to at the end of the day, and he can't be doing that, man.
In that order, you rock star. Clara and Alois had 3 children together, who all tragically died while in infancy. So when the 4th child, Adolf, came along, Clara spoiled him rotten.
Now, obviously hadn't seen what happened yet because he's just come along. I know I paused it loads, but I feel like there's a lot to take in already. But come on, man, there's just sets the precedent of what kind of maniacs were looking after him. That's all I'm saying.
Hitler's had 2 more kids, and the family moved around a few times, meaning Adolf had to attend 5 different elementary schools. Adolf's father was strict, quick to anger, and took most of it out on the eldest son until he had enough and ran away at the age of 14, leaving 7-year-old Adolf to do most of the chores and get berated by his father. The result was a difficult relationship with his dad, while he was super attached to his mother.
No surprise,
who
man.
worried over him and his health excessively. Hitler did well in school at first. His grades were good and his teachers praised him. He was popular with the other kids and enjoyed gathering them together to play war games. He also loved reading and particularly liked stories about cowboys and Indians. As he grew older...
I mean, again, this is just all part of a storytelling by oversimplified white guys take over everything, you know? It's just not right, is it? It really isn't, but that's the stuff he was into, and that's kind of what... It's just emphasizing his hatred, building his hatred up and stuff like that, and how he is.
Though, he started to get into trouble. He was caught smoking once, organized a raid on a local orchard, tormented his pro-Austria religion teacher with symbolic gestures, displaying his allegiance to the idea of united Germanic people under a greater German state in defiance of Habsburg Austria.
At that age?
The usual.
Wow.
All of this enraged Adolf's father, who punished him severely. The area of Austria-Hungary that Hitler lived in was once part of the German Confederation, and many of the people who lived there considered themselves to be German. Adolf tended to just go against whatever his father said, and since his father was an Austrian public official, Hitler got big into German nationalism. This enraged Adolf's father, who punished him severely. Around this time, a family tragedy struck. His 6-year-old brother, whom he loved a lot, died of measles when Adolf was 10,
Well, that's
and
a
was
shame,
buried
man.
in the cemetery just across from their home.
Again, whatever you think of Hitler, but at this point he hadn't done anything wrong. And a tragedy is a tragedy. No matter who you are, a tragedy is a tragedy, man. That's a shame.
Around this time, neighbors reported a change in the young boy. Strange behaviors such as talking to trees and staying up late staring at the stars from the cemetery walls.
Wow.
He lost interest in religion, and his school grades started to decline, which enraged his father, who punished him severely. It also didn't help that he had just entered high school, and the cool city boys treated him like a rural peasant. He had to repeat a grade and had little interest in most school subjects, instead spending his time reading and drawing, which he was quite good at. One day his
Better
father
than my
said,
drawing.
"Son, someday you'll be a big balls public official like me." And Adolf replied, "No, father, I'm going to become an artist and soar high above the clouds with the eagles." This enraged his father, but by this time he was an old-ass man, so he just sort of let it go.
Oh, wow.
And then died of a lung hemorrhage.
Oh,
Hitler
that's a
just
shame.
about passed his final semester.
Even though that we've established he's not exactly the best person, but you still don't want to see someone die, do you? It's still horrible to see someone die. And again, we're seeing, you know, this is kind of like the common thing you see in films, people getting bullied and just all the hate becoming inside them, and potentially this is the way it goes, and you can see it from the way it's explaining it. I know it's explaining it with hindsight and probably doing it on purpose that way, but you can definitely see how potentially all this hemorrhage, there's no excuse for it, not making an excuse one bit, has created the person he ended up being, man. And I never knew anything about his childhood, to be honest.
And celebrated in the typical way, by getting blackout drunk and wiping his ass with a certificate.
Oh, wow.
However, he didn't take the overall final school exam, instead just dropping out. The now
Okay.
16-year-old boy was unemployed, without much purpose in life, and for the next 3 years, he stayed that way. He spent most of his time at the opera with his only friend, August Kubizek.
Better than no
Kubizek
friends.
later wrote his memories of the young Hitler, and said he was passionately interested in many things,
Oh,
felt he
wow.
was in many ways better than others his age, was quick to anger just like his father, and an incredible speaker once he was ranting. When he was 18, he said a very sad goodbye to his mother and went to Vienna to take the entrance exam for art school. He failed. Soon after, he had to return
That's
home.
a shame, man. Imagine, though, if you're the examiner, you should have just let him pass. If he'd have passed, things could have been so different,
Mother
man.
was sick, and her health was rapidly deteriorating. Hitler stayed by her side, and when she eventually
That's a
died, the
shame.
family doctor said he had never seen someone so overwhelmed with grief as Hitler was. Then Hitler returned to Vienna, still hoping to find a career in the arts, but he never did. Instead, without parental support, Hitler ended up on the streets. Now
Oh,
in his
wow.
early 20s, he spent a few rough years living in and out of homeless shelters, making what little he could from selling postcards he painted. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when and how Hitler's extreme ideological beliefs formed, but his time in Vienna would have certainly played a role.
Definitely, man.
Anti-Semitism was widespread in the city. The mayor, whom Hitler supported, was an outspoken anti-Semite. There were many right-wing anti-Semitic newsletters, which Hitler took a keen interest in. He bought into the conspiracy theories and became a firm believer in the idea that there are many races in constant struggle with one another, the purest of which were the German Aryan people, and the worst of which, he believed, were Jews. Since Austria-Hungary was a multi-ethnic empire full of lesser races, Hitler wasn't a fan. So when he was 24, he moved to Munich in Germany to avoid doing military service, and for
Okay.
one more year he was a drifter on the streets, until something huge happened. In 1914, long-standing tensions in Europe erupted into the First World War. Crowds across Europe celebrated the news. Within days, Hitler volunteered for the German army. The war gave him a purpose in life. His fellow soldiers gave him friendship and brotherhood.
Wow.
Despite the horrors of war, Hitler considered it to be the best time of his life.
I get the fact you're fighting with your brothers in arms and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say best time of your life. A lot of people get tragically scarred by this, fighting for their country, fighting for freedom, which is absolutely horrible. That's not the best way to describe it, but again, it shows who he is. But this is so interesting. I never knew he had any slept rough in Vienna at all. Again, the propaganda and all the basically the rabbit hole of the conspiracy theories, which can easily happen. It really can, and people can believe them or whatever. If you guys believe them or not, I'm not going to get into whether it's right or wrong to believe them. I'm going to stay neutral on that. But the fact that you can get so deep into something, it can change your personality, change who you are, change your beliefs. It's absolutely mental. And you just, every little piece so far which we've seen can 100% can contribute to potentially going insane, hating Jews, for example. And so it's mental, man. This is so interesting to see, because we learn about World War II in school, we learn about a lot, but we don't really learn about Hitler's any of this, to be honest with you. And let me know if you're enjoying this kind of reaction, because I really am. I know I've talked a lot, but I'm honestly amazed by it.
He was reportedly a brave soldier and was awarded the Iron Cross, first class. He was also very lucky and had many close encounters with death. His luck ran out in 1916, however, when an artillery shell injured his leg. He went back to Germany to recover and was outraged to find a general apathetic anti-war attitude among the exhausted and hungry German populace. With the war turning against Germany, he returned to the front lines, but was temporarily blinded by a British gas attack in 1918. A month later, still recovering in hospital, Hitler learned of Germany's defeat and surrender.
Okay.
The terms of the peace treaty were tough on Germany. It had to pay a lot of money and lose a lot of soldiers.
Oh, wow.
These conditions weakened Germany and humiliated the German people. Europe's borders changed after the war too. New countries were formed out of Russia's lost territory. Austria-Hungary was dissolved, and there was one big new country splitting Germany into two.
Okay.
Hitler, seeing the country he loved humiliated like this, said that hatred grew in him for those responsible, by which he meant communists and Jews, who he believed had stabbed Germany in the back by spreading dissent and anti-war propaganda back home.
Wow, man. Wow, that is the end of part 1. Again, a very quick reaction. We are going to do it in 2 separate parts, so let me know when you do want to see part 2. I think I've said enough on it. It is so interesting just to see how potentially all the rage is built up inside of him. I never knew he fought in World War One. I never knew that one bit. And again, you're learning little bits about World War One, learning little bits about World War Two, which you potentially haven't heard before. And I know there is an oversimplified on World War One and Two, and I definitely will get them done eventually. But again, like I said, let me know what you guys think of this. I never knew his childhood was so bad in terms of that. Again, if you never really looked into Hitler, you kind of just assume he's a very high official, just going off what you know about World War II, a very high official who potentially got power, had all these, had a rich amount, like so much money, had all these ideas and plans to take over the world and went absolutely crazy. That's kind of a general thing you could probably take if you don't know any of this. But when you see this, you can kind of see how it's building and building and building, and then he sees all the propaganda and all the conspiracy theories about the Jews and stuff like that, and how he thinks the Germans are the purists. And it's absolutely mental, and I have really enjoyed his reaction. Haven't enjoyed Hitler, not one bit, as we can all agree on that. And again, don't think that I'm defending his actions one bit by saying you can see how it's built. I'm just trying to get an idea of how someone can come to be what Hitler ended up being, if that makes sense. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you want me to do part 2 very soon. I'll be recording it. It's just when I release it. It's up to you guys. 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. Let me know, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.